Coach, 2 years ago, you guys beat Creighton, and the next time out lost by 16 to Indiana. What's the goal coming off an emotional game like that to make sure that the foot stays on the gas?
Yeah, believe me, we've addressed a lot of things after that game. You know, a lot of people are saying some really positive things. You got to find a way to put it behind you, and you know, it can obviously be the other way as well. When you have a tough performance, there's a lot of negativity circulating around. So, you know, as we say a lot in this business, you got to find a way to put the tough emotional defeats behind you. I thought we prepared well after that St. Mary's game, which was a tough loss for us. And I've liked how our team has responded and come back to work after the big win on the road at Creighton. So, you know, now it's about going out there, executing, hopefully getting off to a great start, get one more day to prepare tomorrow. And, you know, again, the biggest thing we talk about with our team is emotions, and you can't let your highs get too high. You can't let your lows get too low. You have to stay consistent with your preparation regardless of what happened in the previous game, and you're only as good as your next performance. So, you know, it's a big week for us. We're playing a good team, an athletic team that plays very fast, and a team that can really score the basketball. So, you know, if we're not sharp, if we're not on point, they're going to make us pay.
Seen the guys respond well over the past 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, it was a little sluggish yesterday to start, but I liked how they responded to tough coaching and got back after it and finished the practice well. And I thought from start to finish today was a very solid day. And, you know, we're going to take them to see Gladiator 2 tonight. Excited about that, and then get one more opportunity tomorrow. You know, to make sure that everybody understands the game plan. And we'll get a shoot around earlier because of the early start time, the 5:30 tip on Wednesday. But our guys are excited to get back out there. I think they understand now what we're capable of doing, especially on the defensive end. Still have room to grow. Offensively, we're doing some good things, getting to the free throw line, getting into the paint. And, you know, I think we'll have a game where we take the lid off from the perimeter. But, you know, I really liked how our guys controlled tempo in that game, followed the game plan to perfection. That was about as good as I've had a team that is from start to finish followed a game plan and did exactly what we needed to do to give ourselves a chance and then make the plays down the stretch to, you know, to hold Creighton off, which is not easy to do on that home court. So, you know, just a really good, you know, overall performance for our guys. But, again, knowing the importance of putting that behind us and moving on to the next one.
That said, what kind of confidence does that give you in this group? You know, the amount of turnover that you had this early in the season, that they execute a game plan like that against that kind of opponent.
Yeah, especially, you know, the thing that I was most pleased with was how they responded after the tough loss to St. Mary's. And we had a very long film session that next morning because I really felt that there was a lot of things that happened out there that prevented us from winning that game up in Sioux Falls, which would have been a huge win for us. Now, that being said, you know, you learn a lot of things about your team and how they're going to go prepare after, you know, a tough film session, and they did a great job of putting that behind them and then preparing for it. So, you know, we had another tough film session yesterday. You can't let them get comfortable. You got to continue to go out there, coach them hard, and you know, put a game plan that gives us the best opportunity and the best chance. This team we play in South Dakota will pressure us. They'll full court press. We have to take care of the ball. That was a huge part of the win at Creighton is we took care of the ball. We didn't turn it over, and you know, did a great job on the glass. South Dakota, they crash all 5, and we're going to have to do a good job hitting and you know, hopefully take advantage on the other end if we can finish off possessions.
You knew the value of Raleigh's experience when you brought him in here, but how much was that at hand on Friday? I think he had 4 points there in that stretch to kind of put it away.
Yeah, and hit a tough pull-up at the end of the clock. We were trying to shorten the game, and this was after a turnover. He had a bad turnover where Burkay had a shake play out of the corner, and he overthrew it. And, you know, he did a really good job of keeping everything calm and moving on to the next play. We went down and got a couple stops, and then he made a couple really big plays, that one in the fast break where I was telling him to slow down, but he went in there anyway and scored on a fast break. But, you know, it's nice to have a guy like that. I thought Aaron Eulis had one of the bigger baskets in the game as well. Got the and one, and it really was – everybody that stepped on the floor contributed to that win, and that's what it's all about. When you have a group that goes out there, they're joined at the hip, and I just thought, you know, they were all game long for 40 minutes. They were connected out there, and that's what you look for. You have to have all 5 guys in the right spot. Our defense, if you have one guy out of position, it's going to affect the whole group, and I thought the guys were really tied together for all 40 minutes, especially in that defensive end.
You mentioned how you wanted to get
more looks for Connor. Did you see that payoff been also his off-ball movement? It seemed like he was kind of running around like Casey a little bit.
Yeah,
Was that
yeah.
an emphasis?
It was. We actually we worked on it the night before. We went over to the arena. This team right now can't get enough shots, so we went over there night before. We don't always do that, and put in a couple actions for him just to run off screens, and he took full advantage of it. I thought our guys did a really good job of getting him open. Aaron Eulis had a great bottom hip screen. Screening angles are very important in that new set that we put in for him. And the thing I was really pleased with Connor is how he was getting to the rim and finishing in there and hitting his floaters. And he kind of alluded to Casey. That's where he, how many years we have him? 3 years of Casey, his growth from becoming just a three-point shooter to getting in the paint to where he was second in the Big Ten in two-point field goal percentage. I think that was the year before, but it just speaks to the growth of his game and the development of his game, and Connor's really worked on that. He worked on it hard this summer of getting in there. The way Creighton plays, you have to take some of those mid-range shots. I know I talked about that after the game the other day, and Bryce was the first half, and then Connor got it going in that little area in the second half. But the way Kalkbrenner sits in the paint and the way they chase you in there, you have to be able to knock down some of those shots.
In preparing for South Dakota, have you been able to lean on Andrew at all as a guy who was in their conference for a few years?
Not really. I mean, the way they're playing right now, I think is a little different than when Andrew was there. But the one thing that he does know is how good that league is, and like I said, if you're satisfied, if you go out there and you have a little hangover from the Creighton game, it's not going to end well. And again, we've tried to warn our guys and talk to our guys a lot about that these last couple games. But that's the one thing Andrew can let our guys know is that's a really good league that's got very good coaching. And, the way they've built this roster, I'm really impressed. They are very athletic. They got a lot of guys that can make shots. It's similar to me a little bit to the Rio Grande, UT Rio Grande Valley that we played in that opening game. And obviously you see what they've done, almost knocking off Wisconsin, who's been unbelievable this year, and playing Creighton and us tight. They do remind me of that team, the way they rebound, the way they're relentless, the way they've got multiple guys that can knock down shots. So this is going to be a tough test for us Wednesday, and we got to be on point.
In the post game, you mentioned Juwan's leadership last week. Was that him taking it actually to another level than it had been at, or?
100%. Yeah, his voice was the most consistent it's been since he's been here for multiple days in a row. He's had his moments, but I was just really impressed with Juwan, not only leading into that game, but in the huddles in the locker room at halftime. He's really taken that upon himself to be the vocal leader of this group, and we needed somebody to emerge and step into that role. Raleigh's a great leader by example. Bryce, certainly has his moments of leading by example and, being vocal, but we needed that really consistent voice, and I'm proud of Juwan for stepping up and taking that on, and we're going to need that the rest of the year. This, as I told him, this can't be a 1 week thing. When you're a veteran guy, you've been here longer than anybody, it's a big responsibility. But if you take it on and like Juwan did, it's going to benefit Juwan and our whole team for our future.
Been a lot of love for Nate.
Lenzer after that Creighton game. I guess could maybe just speak on the impact that he's had with having your guys embrace that defensive mindset.
Yeah, rightfully so. On the praise that Nate Lenzer is getting, I'm just telling you guys. You see him on the sideline. You see how energetic he is. I asked if his rotator cuff was okay by telling our guys to get back and transition after that game. But that's how he is in practice. It's every day. It's shoot around. He's never off. I talk about a lot of players that are like that, but from a coaching perspective, when your main emphasis is defense, you have to have an unbelievable motor, and that's what Nate does. And I'm really proud of this staff. The roles that have been assigned. Adam Howard with what he's doing to help me with everything on the offensive end, and Ernie, working with our big guys, rebounding. He does all our special teams stuff. But Nate putting that game plan together and going over it with me, and talking about the things, and where are the soft spots, where can Creighton hurt you, and we just felt like we had to take away the paint. the game before at PBA the previous year, they absolutely handed it to us because they got the paint and the three-point line. We just really wanted to take away the paint. If they got it going, we probably were going to have a tough time winning that game, but we just felt we had to eliminate easy baskets. And our guys were on point. You know, not only did Nate put in a great game plan, but I thought our guys did a really good job of going out there and executing for 40 minutes.
Coach, you have a lot of players that are well-traveled, played a lot of basketball. How much is that helping guys like Sam, guys like Bryce, returners in your program, just to have that outside experience?
Yeah, it is important. And not only those guys, not only Jawan, Bryce, Sam, but you look at guys like, Cale Jacobson, you look at Jeff Grace, you look at Henry Burt, you've got guys that have been around this program a long time. And, you know, our defense, it is complicated. There's no doubt about it. We get a ton of reps, but we continue to believe in it. We got so much better as the year went on a year ago, and it's great to see in the early part of the season, you know, that some of that's carried over, and I think a lot of that has to do with the veteran players that have been in the system. And, you know, you get a guy like Burke that comes in, it's a completely different system than he played in. Gavin, Connor, Braxton, you know, it's a completely different system than any of those guys have ever played in. So it's taken a little bit of time, but hopefully we showed what we're capable of and we can take off from there. But our returners have played a big part in that. And, you know, if we keep guarding like that and can get our offense going, you know, we have a chance to be a really good team.
5 games under your guys' belt, and obviously 2 against, you know, pretty good teams. I'm curious, how much do you and the coaching staff sort of use the data that you guys have to determine, you know, this is going to be our defensive lineup when we need a couple stops, or this is our close? Like, is that enough data so far that you guys have to determine, you know, those types of things?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're getting there. I think with the lineup that we had on the floor at the end, we've had Burke out there quite a bit to finish games at the 5. Sam, obviously, he's helped us win a lot of games on the defensive end these last couple of years. So he's generally going to be out there. Bryce, Jawan, you know, you got 4 really good defenders out there. And then, you know, you figure out who the other guy is going to be, you know, with Jawan, you know, out there. So we got 5, you know, defensive lineup that we feel pretty good about. And then, you know, we've subbed offense, defense there at the end as well to get Connor back on the floor. But, you know, it's as far as the data, yeah, we get those reports after every game as far as 5-man lineups, you know, pairs, you know, 3-man, who the best defensive lineups are, best rebounding team, and then who's going to give you the best chance to put the ball in the basket. But, you know, defensively is where we felt like we had to win that game the other night just because we had to slow it down and muck it up. And, you know, I think we had the right group out there for the most part.
Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.